Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video. Welcome to Moscow region, where I live in Russia. We're about 50 kilometers from the center of Moscow today. And in the little shopping center where I live, they've just opened a new supermarket. And I thought I had to make a video here and show you what it looks like and some of the little bit of differences in this store, perhaps compared to other supermarkets that I've shown on the channel before. The store we're going to go in is called Hatni, and it's actually a Russian supermarket, but it predominantly has Belarus products inside. And there is a little bit of Russian food and a little bit of things from Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. Now, this shopping center where I live is not that big. It's actually 2 stories. Downstairs they've actually got a pet shop right here, so you can get yourself a bird or some fish food. And then they actually have a little market in the middle here, which in Russia they call it a yarmarka. And this is what would be best described as a pop-up market, where they have things that are just temporarily on display. And they've actually got fruit and vegetables, and then there's also some other food and snacks as well. This one just has candy and sweets, and they've actually got a pretty interesting selection of drinks in the back there as well from different countries, and a lot of the candy that you wouldn't buy in normal supermarkets. There's also a shoe store, and then there's a bed shop right here as well in the shopping center. It's really quite a mix of things in here, and we're going to go and check out Hatni right in front of us. So I was trying to work out what the name of the store means, but it's just a word. And my wife is actually here with me today, so she's come for a walk around as well. Now, we've been here a couple of times before since it opened, but we've not had a proper walk around. Actually, when I'm making videos, I tend to see a lot more of the items in the shop than if I come shopping. Now, right at the front, they've got freezers with Belarus-made ice creams. So if anybody is from Belarus and you're watching, possibly you'll recognize some of the brands. Now, there is a little bit of Russian products mixed in, but predominantly everything is from Belarus. Right, Jen?
Yeah.
Now, and then also they've got a lot of cosmetics in here. Now, very normally in most Russian supermarkets, they don't have cosmetics and skincare products. And most of these would be in a separate shop or a standalone shop that would sell and specialize in this. Mostly because in the cosmetic stores, they've got girls that actually help you and serve you and tell you about the products. But in here, it's supermarket style, so it's all for you to come and find what you want and discover perhaps a new product. I'm not too sure how much sunscreen sells here in Moscow, but they have some. My wife's actually very curious with this because she's a big fan of going to the perfume shops and skincare shops and looking for things. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to walk around the whole store, and hopefully we'll point out a couple of things that might be a little bit quirky and different, and maybe something that maybe even I've not seen before in some of the shops. And hopefully something that's a little bit unique. They have items here for banyas, or in English, pretty much most people call it a sauna. So they've got different creams and lotions and different items that you can use in the sauna. Now in Russia we do call it a banya, so I've got to get used to always saying the right words. Have a look how much they've got. All of these different body lotions, shampoos.
Shower gels.
Yeah, there's really a lot of things. And all of this is all from Belarus. Now, the way we've walked around the shop, it's around about 95% products from Belarus, and there's a tiny bit of stuff from either Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Russia. But the whole point of the shop is a Belarus supermarket.
I think I'll find something nice for Russell, which he really like. This is banana shower gel, and I think we can get two. Also one with chocolate flavor, and you can mix it and have nice shower and smell nice and tasty. Finally, I find something very, very nice. Is it shower gel? Smells like Bali with manoi flower and Balinese flower. It's very, very nice and smelly. You really feel like you are in Bali. Probably I'll take it for me.
It's really interesting when you see a lot of the Belarus products compared to things that are in Russian supermarkets, and how a lot of things have different smells and tastes and flavors. And with winters in Belarus and Russia being so long and so cold, you know, you need something a little bit tropical to brighten up your day and make you dream of other countries. So seeing all these different shampoos is super interesting. One thing that's really quite amazing, and for me, is to see that there's a product in every category from Belarus. So you can even get yourself a Belarus-made toothbrush. Now, I don't know where everybody's from watching, but do you really take note of which country your toothbrush is made? Perhaps it comes from China, and you live in another country completely not China, and then you've got Belarus products made in Belarus right in the store here. All sorts of different cleaning products. And what was the interesting one we noticed just here? Mr. Ludwig, where this is actually washing up liquid, and just an interesting name. And also a lot of the things have English words on the packaging as well. Mr. Window, if you want apple flavored window cleaner. I don't think I've ever seen apple flavor before. There is actually a little bit of Russian made products on this side, mostly the things for your kitchen. And then I did notice some Belarus made pans also. There's actually even frying pans as well. It's just so fascinating for me coming from Australia, and so much stuff isn't made in Australia and it's imported and it's not domestically produced. There's some more products here with English words on as well. York is actually a place in England. Now there is a little bit of a theory behind this, that people put trust in British brands or brands that have got an English name. And someone needs to perhaps let me know in the comments, is there a truth to that or not? That you would sooner buy a product that's called Master Fresh rather than a Russian or Belarus brand? Please let me know in the comments.
I think I find Italian pasta because it looks like Italian flag, but it's not. It's from Kazakhstan. This one from Kazakhstan. Actually, all of this pasta is from Kazakhstan.
So we are actually swapping between us who has the microphone and doing some talking, so that it makes the video a little bit more interesting. Now my wife wants to be on a video and we're in a supermarket, of course. She's looking for something new and interesting and something different. Now where we actually live in this part of Moscow region, we have at least 10 different food stores immediately where we are here. We're actually close to the train station and the city area. And then where we live, about a 15-minute walk away, we've got another 7 supermarkets. So we've got a lot of choices of places we can buy food. Now, all of these refrigerators are Belarus-made products. And then they're literally driven from Belarus to Moscow region when we are here. We're actually only a 6-hour drive from the border, so it doesn't have to come all that far to get here and then put right on the shelf. Lots of salamis, and cheeses, and then also more hams, and even Belarus eggs down there. Now they're a little bit more expensive than Russian eggs. I wonder if the chickens are a little bit different when they come from over the border. We've made our way around to the canned and jarred section of the supermarket. And this isn't a very big supermarket in any way, but it's very specific and niche that it has predominantly Belarus-made goods inside. And, you know, it doesn't have people just wandering up and down the aisles and very busy. There is actually another supermarket in this shopping center that most people have known about for years while this shopping center's been here, but this is brand new. So it's going to be, you know, very interesting for people to discover it for the first time, and perhaps they have family that's from Belarus or they're from there. You know, of course, Belarus was under the Soviet Union, so there's a lot of people who have a lot of family and friends from that region, so they'll probably know the products very well. There's Belarus pasta sauce. I don't even need to go to Italy. They've got a whole section of it right here.
I find one thing which I want to show you. This is Russian soup. It's called borscht soup in can. I think it's a good idea when you're really tired or not feel like cooking. This is very easy. And I want to show you one more thing. It's quite strange. This is horse in one can.
Meat in a can is not an uncommon thing in Russia and Belarus. This has been around since long before I came to Russia and long before my wife was born, but she remembers this from her childhood. It was a very inexpensive way of having meat when it wasn't as readily available. Now, you really need to let me know in the comments, are you interested in trying horse or not? Maybe you already know about it, maybe not. Now, the easy way, if you can't read the cans, you have a look at the different animals on the front. Most of this is all beef. There's also some chicken and turkey down here as well. Actually, there's even a pig, so there'll be some pork meat in that one right there. Who wants to try horse? Let me know in the comments. It's not that often we actually get to go shopping together and walk in supermarkets. Normally I come and do these videos alone. So it's interesting to see my wife in this kind of a shop, because a lot of things in here are not in the normal Russian supermarkets. And of course there is some fairly standard Russian products here as well. But when you start seeing a lot of the Belarus products, there's a lot more interest because it's different. Perhaps there's a different flavor and different taste. There is actually a tea and coffee aisle. There isn't that many products. Now, even in Russia, it's very well known that they don't have coffee production in Russia. So a lot of the coffees that are labeled as Russian-made coffees tend to be beans that are imported to Russia and then repackaged to be sold domestically. And the same with some of the teas here as well. The tea leaves themselves are either coming from India or Sri Lanka and then repackaged as Belarus-produced teas. One of the things my wife pointed out with a lot of the labels and wrappers on all the biscuits here is they look like they're from Soviet Union times. And this is very common as well with the Russian products. They don't change their labels and their branding very much, going back 50 years, 70 years, 100 years. And a lot of the labeling looks a little bit very bland and not interesting, but this is just how they've done this for so many years in Soviet times and now in Russia here where we are, and the same in Belarus. That's why a lot of things look very basic looking on the shelf, because they just never invested in marketing and branding and labeling, even to this day. I really like walking around and then finding the Belarus alternative to what was in Russia. And I think everybody around the whole world knows about Pringles and the flat chip that was in a can. Now actually in Belarus, they have a flat, long sheeted chip like you see here. So the actual box is square, and then inside there sheets. So they've actually got a caviar flavored one, and then there's tomato, potato, and the one that I think I want to try is the lamb flavored one. There's also what looks like a crab, perhaps. This one right here. And these are very famous Belarus chips. Now the actual brand that I know so well, and they have in a lot of Russian supermarkets, is Mega Chips. And in this store, because it's purely Belarus products, they've got all the different brands of them.
Russell, now cola is left Russia, and I can suggest you Belarus cola. It's like Bela Cola or Dober Cola. I think also they have lemonade. It's like Sprite version.
I really want everybody to mention in the comments about my wife being on this video, and if you'd like to see her in more videos that I do, she's like adding the special comments for me in this video as we walk around, and she's always a little bit nervous of what to say. So please let Yevgenia know in the comments that we want to see her in more videos, and give her a thumbs up if you can. There is also a small beer section in the store, and one I just noticed which was quite interesting. So there's a Belarus beer here with an English flag on it. And what they're actually really pointing out is that it's a lager beer versus some of the different fruit flavored beers and different pale ale and Pilsner beers. There's quite a few different choices here from Belarus. I didn't want to make this video about the prices in the store, because really the more uniqueness of this store is the fact that everything is not predominantly from Russia. And it's just interesting to see a bottle of water here. Now this is a very classic bottle of water for only 30 cents. Now let me know where you live in the world and what you're paying for a standard bottle of water. Might be interesting to make a comparison. They've actually even got a refrigerated section. So if you want a beer to go or a bottle of cool drink, you've got it chilled. The actual Belarus Fanta here on the bottom shelf, I've just noticed as well. So they've got the equivalent of the Coke, Fanta and Sprite in the 3 different choices. There is also alcohol in the store. Belarus is well known for different spirits. The one thing that I found interesting though is they've actually got Belarus made whiskey, and then there's one here that says the brother of Irish whiskey, and these are actually produced in Belarus, which is just fascinating because we know it so well with Ireland and Scotland, and then you've got Belarus gins and different types of vodka, of course, and then there's different liqueurs with all sorts of different flavors, which are super interesting and very bright and inviting, I think. Now, let me know where you live, what you're paying for a bottle of vodka. This one here is just about $5 for a half-a-litre bottle of vodka. And even the whiskey is only $10 for that bottle of whiskey right there. They also have some Belarus wines as well. Now there isn't a very big selection. Now the whole point again of this store is it's predominantly Belarus products. So you're not going to get a huge warehouse-sized supermarket, especially here in Russia. They're just bringing a little bit of a sample of everything and putting it all in one store. There's also some wines here from Georgia and Crimea as well. And then also have a look at all of these different liqueurs. There's a chili one, there's a lemon flavored one. So many interesting alcohol drinks that even I don't recognize, and I worked in alcohol shops for so many years. They also have one fridge of frozen goods. along with all the ice creams we saw at the beginning. And not too many things, mostly dumplings. And I wonder how Belarus dumplings are compared to Russian ones because they're so well known. And I was trying to remember the name of the English or Swiss brand of chocolate that looks awfully like this packaging. I think it's Lintor. Someone needs to let me know in the comments, but here it's called Spartak, which is also one of the Russian football teams. But these are all Belarus chocolates, and there is actually one from Kazakhstan right here. Nothing too fancy with the name, it's just called Kazakhstan chocolate. And have a look. Also, there's some Belarus perfume. So I found my wife again, just wandering around the aisles like I am. Did you find anything?
Yeah, I think I decided what for dinner today.
Nice. One thing I do really like about this store, and it happens in quite a lot of shops here in Russia, is the store manager or administrator has his desk right in the shop. So if you've got anything you need to know or you want to ask, or there's some problem or something's out of stock, you can actually meet and talk to the administrator. They're not hiding in an office or in a back room somewhere. They're physically here on the shop floor. Here is Zhenya still looking. Now, because we've only been here once or twice before, we've not really had a proper look around. So now she's spotted things that aren't in our normal couple of stores near where we live. So it'll be interesting what's for dinner tonight. It's definitely nice to see a few shoppers in the store. Now, this is actually the middle of the day on a Monday that we're here. Now, we just walked here from where we live. So most people, this is a working day today. So it is nice to see a few people in the shop while we're walking around. We are trying our best not necessarily to get people in the background of the shot, but it's a little bit difficult when you're in a supermarket and trying to make a video. As I leave Zhenya at the register paying for some items, we didn't really actually plan to do some shopping in here. We came to make the video, or I did anyway, and Zhenya came along, and I hope her being in the video something a little bit interesting. And she actually pointed out a few things that I probably wouldn't have noticed walking around as well. Thanks everybody for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. That'll be super nice. And mention my wife in the comments if you can as well. And if you want to see her in more videos, that would be nice too. Let me know what you think. Perhaps you're from Belarus. Perhaps you've been to a Belarus shop before, or you've been to the country. Now, I've actually been there very briefly, across the border and back, while I've been living here, but I've not physically toured around the whole country, so going to this sort of store like this is very interesting for me to see a lot of different products. If you want to follow me on Telegram, there's a link right here to my Telegram channel. You can post some things in the comments there as well. I post a lot of photos every day from the Telegram channel. Then if you want to see an old video, I'm going to show you another Belarus store that I went to just recently. That might be interesting to make a comparison between these two. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm off on another adventure. Bye.